Welcome everyone, actually I'm here. In this video we will talk a bit more about the engine that I'm working on, but more importantly a demonstration will be shown. Previously we talked about what you all were waiting for half a year and gave a good amount of early product information, but I didn't exactly show anything regarding of creating something in the first place. Today I will show you how we would create a taunt gesture for both cans we have to piss the other people off. Mostly the other player, of course. First we will start with the normal can for being simple, then we will head towards the demon can with a small sprite particle effect. Before I start, I want you all to know that this is just a demonstration of the current system. It may look confusing and you might still get lost here and there. I will not explain everything in a detailed manner, but do not forget, this is not a tutorial and nothing is final. I will eventually show how to create a character from the first step, but for now I just want you to follow as much as you can to just get your curiosity off a bit. So let's give it a go. Okay, let's get into our characters folder, can and core system can. Here you will see light punch, medium punch, heavy punch. We have all the abilities we can do, which are basically states. But we will create our new one now. Let's see. First of all, after right clicking, we will enter state def, or you can write the name exactly, it doesn't matter. The difference between basic and advanced is that basic got no movement abilities while the advanced has. So what we need is something that we don't need to move. It will just simply that can will make it taunting gesture. So basic will be enough for now. Okay. Once we add it to our graph, we will see a way to activate the state and new state ID, which is, we can say, 700. I'm sure that we don't have another 700, so I can easily make it write it that. Okay, first of all, actually second of all, what we have is a character stance, which is standing, crouching, air, flying, and laying down. Ours is a standing one, obviously, because we will not be taunting as crouching. You can have it for Dan Himik, the character called Dan, if you prefer, from Street Fighter. But for now, our Ken will be standing when he is making this taunting gesture. Move type is non-attack, attack, and hit receive. We can choose non-attack because we are not attacking directly and we are not receiving any hits. I will get that later. Do we need to face the enemy? Not really, because while we are doing this while we are entering the state definition, we will be already facing the enemy, so we don't need an extra check for it. Okay. The most important part of here is that we got what called is type of animation. Now, basic animation is what we have here as this. In the variables, you will see idle, idle dance, move forward, move back, and the list goes on. These are all the basic animations that a character must have. If it doesn't have to have any animation, that it becomes a unique one. This can become Ken's Shoryuken, Ryu's Hadouken, and all that. So there are things that you put and they do not have to be included in one character. But the basic ones have to be. So we told the system that we want to make a basic animation, but then it demands us to enter animation ID for basic or unique. We will simply say that just because it's written here, Taunt, we will just say here Taunt as well. We will get to a point where they can be different. I will develop into that later on, but for now this will be enough to told. Then we get another get hit information. The Mugen creators will be familiar about these numbers, but for now, since we are not making any get hit animation, we can simply say no. Sprite priority can be set 0. We are not going to loop the animation. It will just simply end after it's over. So we can simply oops, I just opened open source. Hold on. Okay, just say 0 to them. Okay. About control parameters, if you want to make the character move by any means while in this state, you would simply say enable ability or movement inputs. But we do not want to be able to move while making this while in this state. So we simply say that disable ability and movement inputs. That's it for now. It's enough for them to know. In case we are making a move such as like moving to right, moving to left, or moving upwards, we want to be able to stop since we are making the taunt gesture at this moment. So let's say freeze all movements for X movement behavior, and the same for Z, which is going up and down. All right. We got our state ready, but we got one thing missing. How are we going to call this little guy actually? It's actually simple. Let's drag this out and say at custom events. Okay. And let's name it state 700, which is exactly the same state ID. The custom event is something that we can call, and I will show this right away from the input system. But let's see if everything is properly done. Let's see. First of all, what we need to see is if the taunt actually has anything at all to play in the first place. When we click on the taunt at the right side, we will see that it got a default value which is none. So even if I trigger this state, it will simply not show anything. The character will be blank. You will not see Ken until it is finished. So let's see what we can do about it. Let's get into visuals, character, flipbooks. Now let's write outro. I'm writing outro because I know what I have right now. This is the winning move of the winning state of the Ken. So if the Ken wins the game, he makes this animation. So that's why it's called outro. So it could be taunt as well. It doesn't matter. Okay, as we see that this is the taunt gesture of the Ken. I will not developing this too much. As I said before, I will do so once I show the tutorials or demonstrations about how to create a new character, but let's just assume that we have this ready and get on the go. Okay, so let's close this up, and after selecting this, simply move on the cursor and some trigger. Now we got AutoCAN and the taunt is not empty, but still we got the problem exists. We cannot call this state yet. So let's get into it. Okay, so we got almost everything covered for our system, but we still cannot trigger it yet. So while we are in the ability system, what we need to do is getting into the input system instead. Now in this here we will see that we got a check player input, which means that after you finish your inputs, this event triggers. I will actually show it right away, but before let me give you a small explanation about them. So first we check for heavy punch, then medium punch and light punch, and it goes on for the kicks. Well, at the heavy punch, you will see that we got an input check executor, which makes sure that we got enough inputs that we have entered before checking the entire combination of the inputs themselves. So what we need for heavy punch is simply one input, which is just the heavy punch, pressing the heavy punch itself. So this is okay. So we started. After starting the check, we make sure that what we have entered is Z. By the way, X is for light punch, Y is medium punch, Z for heavy punch, and A, B, C are for kicks. T is for taunt, and S for special, which is mostly for using special. But anyway, we will get into those after. We will get into those while we are making our own, let's say, character in the first place. Don't also say please. Thank you. All right. After we make sure that our input is actually Z, which is heavy punch, we check if our ability input is disabled and we can actually do the heavy punch itself. I will get into it in a later video. This is a bit complicated than it looks, so it needs its own video. Don't worry about it, it's not that hard. But after the condition is met, we tell the system to execute the state, which is 502. For ours it will be 700, and we will get to that soon. Okay, but if the condition is not same, for example, let's say that you want to make this while in the air, or while the input ability is disabled, then it will say conditions is failed, and it will continue checking for the other inputs, making sure everything is passed and everything is checked. Alright, well, enough talking about it. Let's show a small demonstration. Let's see, let's get this like this. Hold on.
Round one. Fight.
Okay, Now, since we're in the core system can and we got only one can, normal can of course, it will say just we got only one core system can. So let's click it. Now let's see what happens. Let me get a clear shot at this. You already know what's happening, so you don't need to see it in a bigger section. Okay. As I press the heavy punch, as you see that the total amount is enough. I'm pressing heavy punch and the input is the condition is met. So we are doing the heavy punch itself. But if I do medium punch, as you see that the first input checker, there is enough input, but the problem is the system says that you are not doing heavy punch, you are doing medium punch, so the input is wrong, so it goes straight away to checking medium punch instead. If you wanted to check for light kick, it will be like this. Hold on, this is medium, there we go. This is like, as you see, for all of them it says that the input is enough, but whatever is going on wrong is in the input we are adding to. We are not doing heavy kink, we are not doing medium kink, we are doing the light kink. So you get the point actually. So what we need to do here is adding our own input system. For now, what we need is one input. What we will need is again a single input check, which is for the taunt. Then we will have an execute state with the condition. So let's just copy them all together. After pressing C, it will create a command tab, so it's just easy to do it. Let's call this taunt to piss people off. Okay, let's just make it slightly bigger for the sake of visuals. Okay, and let's go after the second. Our input check executor will demand us to have at least one input added into the system, so this is okay. Then we do not want the light kick. What we want is T for tango, which is the taunt. The input will be correct then, but this is just too complicated for just simple taunt, so let's just delete it and right click. Let's say state check current state ID. Alright, this will check what we are in right now. So if we are standing, it will be 0. Let's say equal to 0, and if it is equal to 0, the condition will be correct, so we will be able to execute the state called 700 with its ID. Now before you wonder how we understand that the standing is 0, we can get to this place. So don't get to the very core of this, the player character core, and when we enter it, you'll see everything is actually similar with all the new state definitions, so it's not exactly as complicated as it looks. Anyway, let's not get into that detail. Now it says that main idle animation loop, and it states that this is the state 0 and its current ID is 0. Why don't we give it a look and see if we are wrong or not? Round 1. Okay. Now notice that we got two options as we know. Since they are both are inherited from the same parent, the Unreal says, hey, you got two player character cores. One is core system can, a child of it, and the other one is its child as well. So whichever you prefer to debug, choose one. So we choose the can. At the moment, can is in idle state. So do you see it? Hold on. There's this one moment and there's this idle moment. Of course, there's a deeper system to trigger these, but we will not get into them. I just want you to have the idea that how this works. As you see, once I start to move, the movement starts. The movement state triggers, and the other idle state triggers after the movement ends or after I stop pressing the move direction demand case. All right, that's it for now. Now let's see. Now let's just connect this just as we do here. Let's see, not enough. If it is not enough, we probably don't need this, because if it is not enough input, which is 1, this will not trigger anyway. But let's just do it. It doesn't just hurt anyway. Okay. Now let's just. I'm just trying to make it pretty here. These dots just got no point anyway, so just connect them each together. Okay. As you see, if the input that we entered is not light kick, which is this guy over there, then it will simply say that I'm going to continue on checking for the taunt itself. Let's see if we did everything correct. Of course, I didn't start it yet, so.
Round 1. Fight.
Okay, let's choose the core system can again, just like we did. Now let's see what happens after I press the taunt button. It works. At the right corner you see that our can already made the taunt. So let's give it another look.
Round 1. Fight.
Since the state is 0, the can will surely do it. So let's give it a try. Okay. Now, as you see, it works, but we got 2 problems. First, the small one is that there is no sound. We would expect the can to say "Yettade" here, as it does in the alpha versions of the Street Fighter. But the biggest one is that we are actually stuck in that state. While we are seeing that the Demon K is doing its idle animation, can is still in its current state, which is 700. It's supposed to go to 0. So let's fix this one at first. Okay, we made sure that our taunt actually triggers the taunt state that is, but we still don't know how, we still don't have a way to return back to state 0. So let's give it a go. Let's delete this one now. I just saved it for the test. Okay, in our state definition, we will see that we got a way to exit, but most importantly, we got a way to call a state add-on. This is basically adding code just over the code. I could say that, at least if it's not too confusing. I'm sorry for that, but let's say that state definitions can contain small state nodes that would help you do things like, why don't I show you? Let's see, state, and we type state add-on. Let's ignore hit definition for now because it's a special one. And what we have is right now, we can add position, we can add velocity, we can change the state, which is actually highlighted by the Unreal itself. We got condition dependent workflow, which is, we will get to this later. It's a bit complicated like Unreal thing. We can jump to animation frame, play camera shake, play particle effect, play a sound, set new control parameters after doing a move and all that, and set new animation properties, which is the animation control itself. We can get to all these one after another, but for now what we need is change state. So what is a state add-on, you might ask? State add-on is something like, let's say, it could be called a sub-engine inside the engine. This little guy triggers every state, and it triggers every frame, to be correct, and it checks for its condition. Once the condition is correct, it triggers what it's supposed to do. In this case, it changes the state. But before entering all the properties, what we need is that, actually, what the add-on demands that it asks which main state ID it is connected. So what if we say 0, this will not work, but it will say, if we say 700, it will work. To make things easier, you can actually make a drag out as well. This is the same value as this one. So let's just make it like this. Okay, now this guy will work. But there are still things that we need to do. So let's say self-state ID is something that you can recognize if you want, like Taunt. You could write that. It's optional. You don't need to fill it up. Condition is that when we need to trigger the state, of course, after the Taunt animation ends, we want this to trigger. So let's drag out from this and write animation over. Okay. So, you can remember the state check from animation error. We got many state checks that you can use. No, we don't have, of course. I didn't implement them yet, but important one is this at the moment. Okay. By the way, why did this come up? As well. That's strange. Hold on. Oh, of course. It's because I dragged from the bullet library. Never mind. Okay. So we told the state definition that, and most importantly, the state add-on that we want this. We want it to trigger itself when the animation is over. But it says that which state to call. You will simply say, hold on, sorry. We will simply say 0. Let's see if it's going to work or not.
Round 1. Fight.
Let's trigger the Taunts. There you go. Now we can simply move. It's just easy as that. If only I could explain it better. Okay. Now, of course, we actually fixed all the systematical problems, but we still don't have a yet that Ken is saying. So what we need is actually, let's go up, and the positions doesn't matter, but I just like to change state to be at the last one, so don't let this confuse you. Now we got another add-on that I showed you, which is play sound 2D. If you're coming from Mugen, you can simply write play SND and it will simply show itself too. Okay, this is the same add-on that actually it's the procedure is the same. The way it works is the same. It asks for the main state ID, which is we have to write 700 or we have to link it from here. You could just simply say and we will get to this condition later, and it asks for you to which sound to play, and of course the sound multiplier, which is 0. It will be its normal value. And one extra thing is that it got a retrigger property. Now the thing is, after this state add-on triggers, which is the condition met, it will stop as long as this is 0. But if you want to be able to, if you want the Ken to say yetade one more time, well, if you want that, you simply tell that this add-on to reactivate itself after 5 frames in the game. That's it. But for now, what we need is that we want yesterday to be set once, so we don't need it to be triggered again. So once it is the condition is met, this state add-on will completely stop functioning until it's called again by the definition it's linked to. So let's connect this to main state ID, and in order to make it look prettier, you can also, instead of linking it from here, which might not look good, you can just simply do it like this as well. This will work again. Okay, as you see, the state add-on connection is in here as well, so you will just know it. Even if you're a beginner at that, the state add-ons can be connected to each other. So instead of if you are coming from Unreal, you will know this note. Instead of making it like this, you can simply instead just put them over here. That's it. There's nothing else. So let me fix it up real quick. Right, as I said, change state could be here and play sound could be here. It doesn't matter. What matters is the conditions. Okay, so we need to place get data. Where exactly? Let's see. Not here. Let me find our Taunt again. Hold on. Okay. Let me just open it all quickly. Okay. Now let's stop because it's interrupting me. Anyway, Let's see, this is the animation element 0, which is the index 0, index 1. They are all sprites that are came together. I will not speak about flipbooks right away. These are just premade by me from the very beginning, as I mentioned before. So before making you any confused, let's get into the animation elements itself. It seems that this animation is done by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sprites that I have gotten from Can's own sprites. So when we want to say it could be right here at 34, or better index 6, which is animation element 6 if you're coming from Mugen. So let's say this is, to be exact, this is animation element 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. Now let's say I don't check. No, I wrote it wrong. Check. Get animation elements, and from the return value, let's say it's equal to 6. Okay. Now, once our animation element becomes 6, which means that we are right at this frame, this sound will trigger, but we didn't select our sound yet. So let's see. Sounds. There must be. Okay. Alright, that's the one. While it is selected, let's click on the arrow once again, and it's supposed to work. Let's see if it will be.
Round 1. Fight.
Let's count again. Well, it's not bad. Alright. That's it. Okay, so we got our Ken's own Yattadet and Taunt, but let's do the same for Demon Ken as well, but let's add a camera shake and a particle effect to it as well. I will do the one that it's doing at the very beginning, the intro of the Ken, that is. So let me show you this guy. So because I just like it as well. So anyway, let's get to our Demon Ken. We will practically do the same thing. There's no need to reinvent the wheel after all, right? Okay, let's get into our core system as well, Ken as well. So let's just copy these all together. Yes. Well, at this point, everything is ready. Of course, we do not want to say yet that, but this part is important. Let's just link them up, so we will not get stuck in the same state just like before. Okay, we got our animation Taunt ID here as well, but the problem is we probably do not have Taunt here. Yes, so let's see what we have in visuals. Let's write Taunt. What happens? Escape. Alright. Yeah, this is the intro that I use already, so let's give this a try. No, Demon Ken. Okay, we got it there. There we go. It's now Evil Taunt Ken, Evil Taunt Ken. Now everything will work almost fine. Of course, we still didn't code the fact that we don't know how to call this guy. So let's go to Ken again. Let's just copy paste it to Demon Ken himself. Just like this. Okay. Let's link them up together. Okay. One thing you might be wondering is why we are putting this Taunt to the latest segment instead of the first. Wouldn't it be work? It will just like this, like starting the check from the very beginning. The problem is, imagine that the player pressed on heavy punch which is this, and Taunt at the same time. This is all about giving the priority. You see that this little guy does more than simply checking. It also checks if you press on anything else or not. So when it sees that the player pressed Taunt and Heavy Punch at the same time, but I can only check for one single input, so I have to prioritize something. So it says that, okay, he checks the list. I'm on the first I'm on the first one, so I will do Heavy Punch instead. So if you press Heavy Punch and Heavy King at the same time, it will do Heavy Punch. If you do Heavy King and Light King together, then it will do Heavy King first. I mean, if you press the buttons at the same time, that's just something that comes from Mugen that I replicated. So just in case you're wondering why it's at the last segment instead of the first, or what's the difference between being in the middle or last or first. Anyway, okay, everything is actually set on here just like we talked about, so we don't need to get to it now. What was my button to make the taunt?
Round 1. Fight.
Yeah, okay. As you see, the taunt works, but there is no sound at all, and the camera is not shaking just like we have in the intro of it. So let's fix that up quick. Actually, let me see one more thing. It's not something. Let me get these all together again. Make sure they'll stay. Alright. Animation element 0, 1, 2, 3. So I want the animation and the sound to be at exactly this point where the animation element 3 starts. So let's get to it. See, let's close the filter, clear the selection, get to the thing we can. Okay, this system. And okay, so let's start from the easy one. Play sound. Let's add it. Oh, by the way, if you just drag it out, it will connect itself automatically, but not the state ID will do it. So let's fix that up quickly. Okay. We don't need to write anything here. As I said, it was optional. So let's get right click and state check. State get animation element, and let's see if it equals to 3. Okay, this will be our condition. And we do not want it to reactivate again. We want it to volume multiplier to stay 1 at its normal sound volume. And let's search for. Okay.
Come on!
Alright, this is the what I need. We added it as well, and let's see if it works. Probably it will. It has to.
Round 1. Fight. Yeah, does it?
Sorry for that, wrong button. Yeah, it kind of works. Still, of course, misses the shake and the particle effect. So let's get to it. Let's clear the filter. Okay. Now, let's add the particle first. Okay. If you remember, we got add-on called play effectively. If you're coming from Mugen, you can also write explode and it will simply show you the state add-on play effectively. Okay, this is a bit more detailed as you can see. Okay, first of all, the connected main ID state ID is the same thing as you know. We can leave this out. This is just for information. The condition is you know about it. And let's connect these together as well. These are all the same things, so we will get to this later. We don't need to talk about this yet. Okay, so let's see. From the flipbook, we want to use a taunt effect. Let's say, I think it was taunt as well. Let's see if we can. Yeah, this is the one that I want to use. So let's Exactly. It's just like the same thing that we are doing with the sound itself. It's just selecting the, instead of sound, we select the flipbook. Okay. I'll get to that material later, but for now, let's see. Simple effect material. I don't bother with this right now. I will set translucent sort priority to 49. The reason is that the players at the moment, the player sprite is actually 50. So if I type it 49, it will be at the behind, which is what I need. So I do not want this to be attached to any thing actually, and it doesn't need to be because we are standing still as we are doing it. So let's keep location, rotation, and scales to keep broad, which means actually keep it to yourself. This is basically that. We do not want it to be reactivated because we will do it once. So let's see. Of course, the condition has to be same again because we want it to trigger at the same time. Let's see. No, just look pretty. Okay, let's compile it. Let Unreal know that we made some changes. Let's see what happens.
Round one. Fight.
Let me slow the time. Hold on. Okay. Let me eject myself to see where it is actually, if it is going at all. I'm just splitting frames to see if I did something wrong. It's not triggering. Hold on. Of course, the word scale. Basically, it's triggering, but we just can't see anything. I should make it default by 1 at some point.
Round one. Fight.
You can actually see it. If you look at it closer, it just spawns here. The reason is that since we told it to keep everything to yourself, it takes the world location of 0, 0, and 0. And by the way, I do not want this material to be translucent, so hold on. And let's make it slightly bigger before we fix this world location problem.
Round one. Fight.
Yeah, it's alright. It seems to be okay. Now let's see. Okay, so how are we going to fix this one? We got a few ways actually. First of all, if we check, this says the character FB, which you cannot see. Let me show it to you. Just okay. We could actually get a relative location of this with this way. Just let's get the drag points and get world location. Then we can just simply, like, let's say split structure pin, and we could simply add X and Z values to get exactly the feet. But don't you think this is a bit just cumbersome? This is just a bit tiring, and this would make you keep trial and erroring. So let's use something unique to Unreal. You probably saw it, but I didn't explain to you. So let's get to Taunt. Do you see this guy over there? It's a shock point. In Unreal, you can define spots in sprites themselves to be able to get their location later on. So this is what the actual guy does. So let's just delete this and see sockets. Now let's add a new one. You'll see it's just at the 0, 0, 0 right now relative to the sprite location. So let's name it again shock point, just like before. Then there was a way to drag this point, I think. Yeah, exactly. Let's get this right here. You could do this for anything. You can have as much as sockets if you prefer. If you, for example, need the eyes location, you could simply just drag it out, just like this. That's it, really. Okay, I deleted it because we don't need it. Okay, so we got our choke point. What we need a way to reach this out. So let's drag our character flipbook again and get socket location. Okay, this guy actually will help us get through this one, but it asks us what's the name of the socket. So since it's choke points, let's just see where it. Okay, let's just copy and paste it. Now this is supposed to work.
Round one. Fight.
See, it's just that easy. Let me just slow the time down. See, it exactly works as it should. So we don't need to do trial and error. It's just simple as it can get. Okay. Well, what else we left? Oh, actually, I forgot adding another sound effect as well. Let me see. I just know their names, of course, so that's how I can easily find them. By the way, if you are coming from Mugen, you will notice that all the sound effects are separate files, including the flipbooks, which are the true animations, the sprites that create the animations, even the textures themselves. This is just an extra information for Mugen creators or Ikemen. I don't know if it's like that as well, but as you see, they're all separate files that you can reach. Every other character can reach those too. So this simply air file doesn't exist anymore. Okay, after this, let's bring again in the sounds. Let's see. Okay, we will get to the difference between sound wave and sound cue later. Don't worry about it right now. Okay, we know that it's named bring. Let's get not this one. Okay, so let's just let's just drag this out further, and let's get down further away as well. Let's just add another sound, which will be the bring sound. And yes, okay. And well, by the way, instead of choosing here, you can just simply have a drop down here and type in bring, and there we go. Okay, we want the condition to be same with this play sound as well. So let's get to it. Oh, by the way, Mugen creators again will ask if there is any sound groups. There isn't any sound group in my system. Before that, Mugen only let you play 3 sounds at the same time, but it's not the case at the moment. You can play if you want 500 sounds at the same time if you so desire. So there is no limitation for that anymore. So that's why you don't see any sound group whatsoever. Maybe I will do one thing. Maybe I will do one eventually, but it will not be as limiting as the Mugen will have. It will probably have 100 groups maybe. All right, so let's see if it's working. Probably it will.
Round one. Fight.
All right. Now, just to make things even scarier, we need to have the camera shake. Let's see. It seems I need more space than that. So let's get this like this. Okay. From the add-on connection again, let's say camera shake. These are all the Unreal stuff as well. If you want, maybe when you want to get a step ahead of my system, you can check whatever is coming out every time you press something. But for now, what's important for you and me is state add-on, play camera shake. Everything works same as play sound, change states. As you see, the more you work on state add-ons, the more you will see that they're actually the same thing, that we just have different priorities. That's all. Once you once you use more of them, you will just understand that it's just easy. Okay, I want to continue to be the same because I want the shake to be done at the same time, all the sounds, all the particle effects as well. So, okay. I don't want any fall off, and I do not want it to be reactivated, but it seems that shake gets a class. Now it seems Unreal got things different. Let's see if we got the shake here. Let me see. Okay. Now in Unreal, shakes are actually camera shakes are themselves files as well. Then like the ones, let's say, they are files just like these. So, well, it seems Unreal just like it that way. So let's just get it online. As you see, there are much more properties that you can use if you prefer to just edit them. But for now, what I have as Evil Taunt shake is enough. Well, when you have my templates in your hands, you can just fiddle with them if you desire, but that's not the point right now. Just that know that I got a shake that is a small one that lasts for 0.3 seconds. So let's choose this, and you will see the name as it is.
Round one. Fight.
Now let's see if it works. Yep, it's there. Now notice that as I move, no matter how much I press the taunt button, it's not working, because we told it that it can only work once the state is 0, as you remember from previously. That's it. Alright, I just hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I really apologize if I just said things wrong, if I just make things longer than it's supposed to be. I just tried my best about explaining. I hope you guys all understand that and know that these are my first times about explaining things in detail, which I probably fail, but I hope you get the idea, and see you in the next video. Okay, have a nice day. Goodbye.